All right. So I believe for a while at least, I know some of us, we know how to build a website, a web page. For now, let's say with our CSS, HTML and our CSS, using just HTML and CSS, I know you can actually come up with a web page, right? At least even if it's just a landing page and maybe about page, you can do that. And then you can fix the media query. That alone, without using any framework, can actually earn you something. All right. That can actually earn you something. Just okay, you know your HTML very well, and then you know your CSS very well. Then you know how to fix the media query. So that alone can actually be added to your CV. All right, that's a lot already. And although it doesn't end there at all, like that's just basically maybe the beginning. That's just basically the beginning. So before we move into frameworks, that's just basically the beginning, how to use your HTML tags and elements very well, how to use links, right? How to style your element, and then how to make it responsive. And then also, I think we mentioned to ourselves last week how to go about using the debug console, like using the debug console and then the element styling to debug styles. You know, when you're working with media query, you get to have issues, you get to have like errors or overflows and stuff like that. So with the help of the debug console and then your element styling, you get to see where the problem is and how to best um, um, attend to some of these errors. So, but then we can actually make all of these things easy, right? We can make the whole responsiveness easy with the use of frameworks. Frameworks are basically what some developers just came together to write. Like they wrote it. It's actually a language also. Like it's code that's been written together in order to make responsiveness or all this development easy for us that are just coming. All right. There are some persons that okay, they have passed through that this our process, they have passed through HTML and CSS and all of that. So now they just came about, okay, how do we make all of this process easy for the beginner, people that are just coming? Instead of them passing through all of this stress, trying to use their media query and then facing too much of error and all of that, how can we make it easier for them to just import something, make use of something, and then fine, they have their media query, they have their responsiveness ready and up. So then they came about the idea of frameworks. So CSS frameworks, as a front-end developer, is the first thing I would say you need to understand, you need to know when you're done learning HTML itself and then CSS itself and then the media query. Although we are not done, like there's no way we can be done with CSS. We can't be done with HTML and you can't be done with CSS. Even if, okay, let's say you have the whole, you know everything about say HTML today. Trust me, before the end of the day, there will be a new thing that you don't know. Like that's how the development grows. That's how the industry grows. So every hour, every minute, there's a new development, there's a new update. So there's no way you know everything finished. That's why you have to keep learning and keep learning and keep learning. So, but then we won't just allow that to stop us from learning HTML. We won't say because okay, HTML is too broad and then it's deep. Then we'll now start, we keep teaching ourselves HTML. No, that's not how it works. That's why it is part of the developers part of developers aim and part of what makes you a developer to know how to make research on your own. All right. Same as CSS, there are a lot of things in CSS. We won't be able to like teach us everything here. Although, like I said, moving forward, when any part of this CSS style is needed, and if it has not been treated initially, then we are going to talk about it, explain how it works for us, and we are going to use it to talk about and explain how it works for us. Well, we may not come across some of it. We won't even come across some of it. We won't come across using some of it. So that's where the research comes up. And then the media query also is just basically what you've learned. Media query is basically the CSS that you've learned, just in a smaller screen, on a smaller screen. If you have on your larger screen, you have 80% width, like your container is 80% width, right? That's because you have a larger screen. And then the 80% is still going to be very visible. Okay. But on a smaller screen like mobile, you don't need to have the 80% because when something is being viewed 80% of a mobile screen, it tends to be smaller. So you just increase the size to 100, and then maybe you add small padding so that it's not too close to the wall. It's just idea and concept. So if something on your large screen, on your desktop view, is maybe H1 is about 40 pixels, that same H1 on mobile screen is going to be too big, right? So what you need to do is just to reduce the size of the H1 from 40 to 20. It's very easy. So the same styling that you've learned is the same thing that you're going to be using in your media query, right? Just a different concept of it. That's just the only thing. And don't forget, I always say, I said it last week, that okay, you have a media screen and then you pass the width that you want. That's for mobile. Then if you want to pass for tablet and you don't want your mobile to be affected by your tablet, you have to pass a max width for your tab and then a min width for your tab. That means the min width should start. The min width should be the max width of your mobile, right? While the max width for your tab should be the min width for your desktop. So that's just how the whole thing works. So now, having done that, we are moving to the CSS framework that we'll talk about. Why do we need a CSS framework? Yeah, for responsiveness, for layout, for easy coding and debugging, for componentizing. So it's the fact that you need the fact that you use a framework is just makes you not it doesn't make you a lazy person. It's not like because okay, these things I can actually do it on my own. Why do I have to use a framework before I can actually do this thing? Yes, I know you can do it. That's why we had to go through the styling ourselves before we now jump into these ones. Definitely you need to know how to do it before you can even know how to use the bootstrap. If you don't know how to use your CSS, it's going to be really difficult for you to use the bootstrap. All right. So that's just, it doesn't mean, okay, this thing is making me feel lazy. No, it's just, this also has to do with how much you can actually grab stuff. You still have to learn the bootstrap to be able to use it, right? And then we need it to make everything very easy and fast, and the debugging very easy and fast. So from what we have here, it says CSS frameworks are pre-designed collections of CSS rows and components that developers can use to streamline and standardize the styling of web applications and websites. The frameworks provide a set of reusable styles, layout grids, and components, allowing developers to save time and effort in designing and styling their web projects. Like I explained, these things are pre-designed. You just have to like import and then start using it, right? Instead of us saying background color red, right? Like in your styling, you're going to call the class, right? After calling the class, you now say background color, then you pass the red. Instead of that, you can just, with the use of Bootstrap, write in your HTML, write in your HTML, your element, you just say BG red. That's it. Instead of saying, okay, you in your styling, you call the class name first, and then you now pass background color, and then you now say red. That's a long way. With the help of Bootstrap, you can only say just like right there inside the HTML, inside the elements, you just pass BG red, and that's it. So that's just what it means by the CSS rules are being grouped into one place, whereby you can just use it in how you want to use it. And also the components, they have a button component, you have a navigation component, navbar component. You know, your button, you have to like when you declare button, when you use button in your HTML, you call it in your CSS, and then you style it by saying okay, maybe padding, margin, text color, maybe background color, all of those things. But with the help of Bootstrap, you just they have a component, a button component that you only have to import, and then you use it in HTML, and then you're good to go. So that's just the whole idea. And with all of these, you know, your responsiveness is actually coming with this pre-designed collection of CSS. You don't have to worry about doing your media query again. Although in some cases, you know, you need something which Bootstrap cannot provide. There's some things maybe, okay, I need this thing, but then I can't get to the Bootstrap. So with that, you can still go back to your CSS, your styling, and then fix the little things. But that won't be too much. It's just going to be very little aspect of it. So that's just the idea. And then we have examples of frameworks, CSS frameworks. You have the Bootstrap, you have the Foundation, you have the Balmer, you have the semantic UI, you have the Tailwind CSS, and then the materialized CSS. So those are the examples of CSS framework. They all perform the same functions, like all a pre-designed collection of CSS rules and components. And then, well, while you can download everything, you can also use the import, the CDN. All right. Like I say, I always prefer we use CDN because when there's any update from their own end, you can easily get the update from your own end. You don't have to like keep downloading and downloading and downloading to get the new update. So that's just basically the CSS framework. So today we are going to be focusing more on the Bootstrap, how to use the Bootstrap, how to import it, and then how to use some of the components. So if you have any question before we move forward, I'll appreciate that. Let's just do that so we can move straight to the next thing. Okay, let me see where I have this. All right, so we are going to create a new project, right? So we are going to be using the Bootstrap framework to develop this our project. All right. So, but then you have to visit the website getbootstrap.com to get started to understand. From there, you can actually read about what Bootstrap is about. So from here, we're going to be using this document to explain to ourselves. Before we even get to coding, we're going to use this one to explain to ourselves how to go about Bootstrap. So the first thing you need to do is you can do that by going to Google and then do get Bootstrap. Just type get Bootstrap. Bootstrap. So then when you type this and you press enter, and then yeah, so you have options there. This is the getbootstrap.com. Well, like I always like to use this process because in some cases I may not even remember the URL to the website. So with that, I can just easily go to Google and then type get bootstrap, and then I'll see what I'm looking for. Then you can now click on this one. So then it takes us straight to the website, the get bootstrap website. So now this is the UI of Bootstrap. This is the new version of Bootstrap, version 5.3. And then they said, I think they made some changes to the color mode support, the extended color palette, and then many more of it. So yeah, this is the navigations, this is the document, this is what you need exactly, the docs. And then the examples of some examples that you may need to use also. Then they also have icons. You have Bootstrap icons where you can also use in your development. They have Bootstrap themes, and then they have blogs. So here you can also search for anything. Maybe you search for how to make a navigation or whatever it is, so you can search it. And then this is their GitHub code base. So you can enter this place and see their code base, try to study it, and see how Bootstrap is being developed. Their Twitter, and then other stuff like that. So you can also change to dark mode and light mode here. So for now, let's just maintain, or let's see how the dark mode is going to look like. Let's maintain the light mode so we can see it better. All right, so for the people using Node.js, which we won't get to that yet, if you're using JavaScript framework, then you get to just use npm install Bootstrap. But since we're not using that yet, so we don't have Node.js, it's not getting to JavaScript yet, then we have to use the CDN. So like we use CDN in our Google fonts, we use CDN in our font also. So here we're going to use CDN also to get our Bootstrap. You can also download it. You can download Bootstrap also, but instead of downloading, I will actually prefer that we just copy the CDN. Like I said, you can always get the new update from the CDN anytime they have an update. All right, so but then I won't just copy the CDN here. I'll go to the docs. So if you are being recommended to use anything, if something is recommended to you, sorry, if a framework is recommended to you, maybe, okay, try Tailwind CSS, and then you want to visit Tailwind CSS. The first thing you need to look for on the website is the documentation. The documentation is a guide on how to go about the website, how to go about their resources, how to use their codes, and then how to make it work better. So that's just target and look for the docs. When you click on the docs, then from there you can see everything you need to know about the website. So now we click on documents now, then we can see get started with Bootstrap. If you want to, so how do you start using Bootstrap? So that's what this one is all about. So now this is just using the index, what we want to use. They're not using any framework here, any JavaScript framework here, any development framework. So they're using index.html. So in that case, they said, okay, if you want to get started, what you need to do by including Bootstrap, production ready CSS and JS, CDN without the need of any bit step, just copy the CDN. That's what you need to do here. But before then, create a new index.html file in your project root. All right. So include the meta tag, viewport tag as well, and blah, 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 all of this. We know how to do all of these ones already. This is just a simple HTML structure. It's a simple HTML structure. So after that, we now have to include the CSS, the Bootstrap CDN inside our header, just the way we included the font awesome here. So we just have to include the CSS, the Bootstrap CDN for the first one is for a link, right? Just a link that will be placed inside our header. While the second one is a script that will be placed at the bottom of our body, more like a JavaScript script. All right. So I'm going to explain that later. And then after having done that, then you get to like start using some of the Bootstrap components. You can just skip all of these ones. We're not using all of these ones yet. So what you need to use is basically the layout, the customization, and then the content, the form. So here you can get a sample of forms. You can get a sample of components. You can get a sample of navigations, right? Navbar, pagination, placeholders. When you click on any of these, you get the sample of what you need exactly. So let me try one. Let me see. Let's check a navigation. Let's say navigation. So how it works. Now, this is the example of navigation. So this is the code for navigations. And then after having, you just have to copy this. When you copy all of this like this, right? This is what it's going to give to you. Just this. So now what you need to do after copying that is just to change the navbar text, change some of these things, and then you have a drop down automatically for you, right? But then it's not like when you copy it, you can't make changes to the code. You can only make changes to the code. Why it is there is just for you to you don't have to like write all of these things on your own anymore, right? You don't have to do the stress by writing all of this thing on your own anymore. Just copy this thing based on your code, and then you are good to go. So that's just now. Let's see what we can do just to make it practical and not too much of talk. Let me see. Just a minute, please.
So, guys, okay, it's back. I think the network is just acting up. So, in case you have any question, can you just drop it? But if there's no question for now, can we just continue? Simple. So, are you back?
Yes, I am. Thank you very much,
All right.
Femi, please. I just needed to do something real quick. Okay, so coming. Okay, so these are examples that these are some stuff that you can actually use that Bootstrap will provide for you. These are the samples of what you can use. You can see we have a sidebar. So there's a code that has been written already for this sidebar. All you have to do is to copy it. Also the header, these are the snippets. Then hero, this is the hero header. The one that we did earlier that we had to like write our codes ourselves. And then with this one, you can easily just copy a code under it and then use it with ease. So let's see here. Let's see what we have here. Headers. So yeah, you have different type of header. You have a simple header where you have your home, features, pricing, facts, and about. You have this one with a black background, the one with a search button, and then a login and a sign up. This one doesn't have a search, while this one does not have an icon, as you can see. So this does have another profile icon where you can see, let's say this, for example, let's say you have an account, right? And then you log in, and then yeah, you can use this type of modal, this type of header to help you to generate a header for an account. And this other type of, so it's a different type of header that you can use. This on home dashboard. If you don't want to use it as a text, you can have an icon and a text together. So that's just the examples, and that's how Bootstraps can actually help you in achieving some of those things you need to achieve. So let's try and create a document. Let's create incoming. Let me open file, then open. So I'm going to create a document. I'm going to create, well, I'm using, where is it? Not, okay, let me just create a new folder inside my MacBook, my desktop. This is Film Suite. Go back. Okay, I'm just looking for a way to create a folder. I think I should create it somewhere, or should just create it outside. So I'm creating a new folder. I'll call it Bootstrap Project. Okay, so now inside that Bootstrap project, I want a folder, another folder. I will just call it first Bootstrap. Bootstrap. Okay, then I'll create it, and I can now open this project. I can open this folder in my VS Code. Now open. So I should have that open inside my VS Code. Okay, so now what do I need to do first? I have to create my normal index.html, as you already know. Normal index.html. So index.html, enter. So now let's do this. All right, so now this is just the normal stuff that we've been doing before. Now, because we want to use Bootstrap, we don't want to just use our normal styling and our normal elements. So we want to use Bootstrap for this project. What we need to do, like I explained earlier, go back to your Bootstrap. This Bootstrap does not really require you to sign in or have an account. Font Awesome requires you to sign in and have an account, but Bootstrap doesn't require you to sign in and have an account. So let's just go back to the Bootstrap. Then let's go to introduction. So from here, you can see the CDN, and then we can copy it. So this is the CDN. We can just copy this one. That's one thing about Bootstrap. They mostly like provide everything for you. You understand? So you can either copy from here, copy to clipboard, or you highlight everything and then copy. It's still the same thing. So after copying that, now let's go back to our code. And then let me remove all of this since Bootstrap provided it for us. Then we paste it here. All right. And then what's the next thing for us to do? Let's open this in, let me save now. And let me open this in my live server. Live server. All right, so this is what I have. Now we come in. Let's try and fix header first. Let's just assume that we want to use an header component. Sorry, a navigation component that has been provided by Bootstrap already, so we can see if this is actually really working or not. So let's go to the navigation, just look for it here. Yeah, you can search for it also. You can search for now. You can search for font sizing. See font size, you can search for font size also. There are also a way in which you can actually reduce the font size, decide how you want the font to look like, and all of that. So we have the text start, stars align, text align center, start. We have the text center, text align center. We have the text end. So instead of you creating, let's do that first for our header, for our hello world. So we create a class here, and then we say text center. Let's just use this. So let's see how it's going to look like. This. All right, so now we have our text at the center. So that's just, imagine how interesting this could be. Instead of you having to like call your H1, create a CSS, a style file, and then having to like call your H1, just like we used to do initially, that you create a CSS file, style.css, and then you now call your H1, and then you say, okay, font size, and then text align, and then all of those things. Instead of all of those process, just by using text center, because we already have Bootstrap script, right? This is the script here. The script is mostly located inside the body. It's always located inside the body of our HTML, inside the body at the bottom. So you can have every other thing above here. Just try as much as possible to have your script located at the bottom of the body. All right, but ensure it is inside the body. While the first link, this is the first link here. This one is located actually. You have to place it inside the header. The header is where you have the styling, and then here is where you have the script. This one is for the styling, while this one is for the functions. When you click on something for that drop down, that is the use of function, not just styling, both function, and that's why we have to use the script for functions, how it's going to behave when you like interact with it. So all right, so now using the text center just brought everything, just hello world to the center. So as you can see, very interesting. Now let's see. Okay, I think coming. We can use text SM, text MD, and then text large also to decide the font size and then how we want our font to look like. All right, so just play around Bootstrap, search for everything. Let me see, I want to search for color also. So yeah, you can search for colors. Let's see. So yeah, we have text primary, emphasis, we have text secondary, text success. As you can see, the text success is green. That's why it is like, that's just the color it's supposed to be. So we have text white, we have text body, text anything. Let's use the text success. For now, our hello word is black. Now let's try the text success. Why this thing is also very interesting, just give a space bar. You know, I explained to ourselves earlier because that we can use multiple class on a particular element, on a single element. So we have text center, and then we can also say text primary, right? Then let's save it. Then let's see what we have. So it's loading, fine. We have the color. You can see this is very, very easy and simple, and it's very like straightforward. Just make the whole process. You don't even need to create anything again in your style or whatever. So when you need to create your style, it's just when you need some stuff that Bootstrap doesn't really provide. And I'm very sure that will be really, really difficult. Before Bootstrap will not provide anything, and it's going to be really difficult. So let's see. Let me see text SM. Let's see. Okay. I'm just looking for the text large, the text, how to change the font size. Let me just check that. The font size. Font size. Text alignment. Text wrapping and overflow, word break, word text transform. Okay, font size, fine. I think I made a mistake. So font size is FS1, FS2, FS3, FS4. So just with the use of FS, let's say 4, Now let's save it. You can see just the way the font the sizes, that's what this one is actually. Okay, if you pass FS1 to this text, this is how it's going to be. If you pass FS2, then it's going to get smaller. Just the way we have our H1 to H6. The higher digits, then the smaller the font size. So FS6, FS4, FS, just like that. And let's see what we have now. See, now it's very small. You need to cram some of these things, right? And then for it to be very easy for you, just open the website and then you can always search for anything. Search for anything if you have any concern. Oh, I can't remember how to reduce the font size. Instead of me using a class and then going back to my styling, then doing font size and then reduce it. So just with FS4, then you are good to go. Okay, Augustine, you have your hand raised. Kindly.
Yes, please. Thank you. I would like to know if you can work offline with it, or you have to be online to be using the elements.
Well, you cannot work offline when you're using a CDN. I think I said it last time also. Any CDN is you have to be online. That's just, you cannot work offline. The only time you can work offline, if you really want to work offline, then you want to use Bootstrap, is when you have it downloaded. Like you can download the whole documents, right? And then you just copy it inside your project. But I don't really like that idea. Like I will not buy it and I'm not going to talk about it. So the only one we're going to talk about is the use of CDN, because when there's any update, in their own code base, let's say they made a change to one of their components, because we already downloaded it, we won't be able to see that change, right? So we have to go back to their website and download the new one so that we can now see the new changes, which is very, very poor. What if the size of the doc that we downloaded is 4 gig? Then we have to like download 4 gig something today. Tomorrow there's a change. We go back there and download again. Next tomorrow there's a change. We go back and download. No, that's a very poor approach to something. So instead of that, we can just stay connected. I said it again that you don't have to be stingy as a developer. You can't be stingy. You subscribe, like you have to be online. Trust me, if I don't have data, I can't go online. There's nothing I can even do without having my data on, or maybe without being connected. There's nothing I can do currently. Say, okay, I want to write code, I want to do it. I can't do anything because everything is you use a lot of frameworks, you use a lot of external resources. And if you need for all of these things to be functioning very well, you have to stay connected. So that's just the idea of it. So Augustine, you have to stay connected to use it. Are we clear?
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right, Jisam, sharp. Gospel, I saw you raised your hand.
Yes. My question is,
Can you just talk louder a little bit, please? You're not clear.
can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. All I'm saying is, this class, is it like, is it a good thing to do? Like, I don't know how to do it. Is it like a copy and pasting?
It's a very good thing to use. It's a very, very good thing. Okay, okay, let me just put it this way. The tags that you are using, were you the one who wrote it? The H1 that we are using currently, this H1, we did not write it. Nobody we write down, right? It was written by someone. HTML was written by someone. JavaScript was written by someone. CSS was written by someone. So we are not the one who wrote all of these things. It was someone who wrote it somewhere and then makes it easier for us to be able to use. Imagine computer language, using computer language, is 0 and 1 binaries to write all of these things. Imagine having to have all of these things. Those things are actually what they use to write some of these things. Imagine having to use 0 and 1 to write a JavaScript or HTML page. How do you think it's going to look like? It's going to be really, really like a nightmare. So, but instead of using that, someone just came about developing all of these things to make it easier for us, right? And then they came about index of HTML and HTML file, CSS file, so that, okay, when you want to develop a website, instead of using 0 and 1, you can always come back. Just copy. It's more like we are still copying too. Because if I say, okay, it's just because you think I'm copying and pasting. That's why you think, okay, maybe we are copying and pasting. But if I know it offhand, which, well, when you write it to number one, you write it again, you write it again, you don't have to like go to the website and copy anymore. You just on your own, just create a p tag, then write something inside. And then since you already copied the CDN for Bootstrap and copy the script file from Bootstrap, you just class and then you start doing it text blue, just like that. FS, you don't have to like go back and copy anything anymore. So, but then, well, it's not a bad thing. It's a very, very good thing. It's a very, very good thing. You tend to use frameworks a lot. That's just it. You can't do everything on your own, and you have to build faster. You have to develop faster. With the use of frameworks, it helps you to like develop faster. I want Femi, please, I don't know if you can attend to that question again, just to put more clarification on this thing. I don't know if you are there.
Sorry, please. I got lost. Which question is that?
Okay, he asked if Bootstrap is a good thing, if it's not a bad thing, because we tend to like be copying from someone and then from someone and then using it in our code. So
Okay, I would say Bootstrap is not bad because you get to a point you would want to deliver work urgently, and for you to now start sitting down and begin to design, begin to build from scratch, it's going to take long of your time. To be honest, I can tell you that. I personally, I don't like Bootstrap. I don't like all this framework, but it gets to a point work will choke you by the neck. You will definitely have to use it. It's good. It's not is good, but the basic line is just know your normal, your vanilla CSS. If you know your vanilla CSS, you can always fly with Bootstrap. Bootstrap will just be like an icing on the cake, just for you to be able to work fast at any given time. That's just it. But any CSS framework, they're always good. Thank you.
thank you, sir. So that's just it. So, well, if you feel like, oh, I don't want to copy, right, you can still use the CDN. Then if you feel like, okay, this particular one, I want to write it out myself, you can say, okay, I will not copy from Bootstrap. Let me write it out myself. Fine. Go back to your style and style it yourself. But in some cases, there are some things you need to do very fast and you don't have time. So you just go to Bootstrap and copy it and then paste it. So that's why we have to know it. That's why we teach ourselves how to know these things before we even start introducing Bootstrap. Well, developers use more of Tailwind. It's also a framework, more of Tailwind, because Tailwind allow you to decide the UI of your components yourself. So they don't actually give you anything to copy, only when you're using Tailwind UI. If you're using the normal Tailwind, then you don't have to copy. They will just tell you, okay, FS4 is text small is for font size, text this one, but you still get to decide how you want it to look like on your own. So that's just basically Bootstrap helps to make the whole development process fast. So yeah, we'll attend to other questions later. For now, let's just hold on that. Okay, so this these are everything under text. You can see here, font weight, semi-bold, font weight, medium, font weight, normal. So line height, LH small. So everything is just for you to just come here, check what you need to use, then copy it and go and use it. But by the time you start using it for project, you don't have to come back here and start copying anymore. All you need to do is just to copy the CDN, paste it, and then everything will start coming automatically from your head. All right. So that's just basically now what we need to do, what I want to use exactly is the navigation. Let's start by using the navigation. Well, let me see. I want to try something. Bootstrap made. Okay, I'm actually looking for a design a Bootstrap design that we're going to follow. I need a very simple design that we can just use to start. Okay, this is the first one. I think we can use this one actually. So let's see the live demo. All right, so this is just the website. This is a Bootstrap template that you can use to learn Bootstrap. So they provided the header. So now what we need to do is just to do something like this also. First thing, we want to create this header. All right, we want to have a pinned, then the navigations, and then the button. So let's go back to our Bootstrap and then go to navigations. You know, this one is called navigation. That's what they call it, navbar. So now let's go to navbar. That should be under components. Yeah. So we have our navbar. Let's see. So now let's look at this thing and see which one is mostly just which one has the same UI as this one. I think button, navigation, and then the button, the navigation, and the title. This is title, this is navigation. There's no search. Drop down, yeah, fine, there's drop down. Okay, I think we can still use these also. We just have to remove this search since there's no search in their own. So let's just copy this whole code. From there, you can copy it from here, or you can still copy it from here like this, straight up. And at the same time, like I said, in some cases, you may not even need to copy. If you already know how to use the properties very well, if you already know how to use the Bootstrap property very well, if you know that, okay, navbar expand large is to expand when it is large screen, and when it is small, then it's going to be small. All right. And again, the help, why this thing is also very important is because when you copy this thing, it automatically generates it's actually mobile first. That's the thing. So it automatically generates media query for you, responsiveness for you. So it's going to give you the icon when you need to, okay, when I'm on mobile, this is how I want this thing to look like. So that's what this thing is going to do for you. Now let's see. I'm going to remove this H1. Just let me remove this H1. But I'll comment, I'll say my header. Then under it, I'll paste this. All right, now let's save. And then let's see what we have after saving. Okay, so we have our header. Now this is the header, very fine. So looking at this, we have append, we have ULs, and then we have the button. Okay, so this is what I have. I have the navigation, which is the title. I have the UL, and I have this search input, and then I have this button. So what I need to do first, let me remove this input. So look for where the input is. We already know all of these things, okay? So we know what an input looks like. Input is mostly inside a form. So, and this is the input. We don't need it. We don't need the input, so we can just remove it. Since it's not inside the design, so let's just remove it and then see. Okay, slowly now the input is gone. Now what we need to do next is to place this URL at the center. This URL, the UL is actually at the center of our screen. So now let's see how we can place this one also at the center. Okay, so let's go to the UL. This is the UL, and this is, all right, so we have ME auto. We have ME. Okay, how do I explain this? Margin. You know, when we are discussing how to position, how to give margin between UL, or let's say how to give position between header, or let's say, okay, I have my icon, I have my UL, and then I have a right. So there's a way we can actually position it by using the ML. That's margin left. We have margin right, margin bottom, and margin top. So what they are using here in Bootstrap, we use margin start instead of margin left. You know, margin left means start. That left is start. So we use margin start, that's MS. We have margin E, that's MN. All right, we have margin B, which is margin bottom. We have margin top, which is margin T. So now if you can see, this is our navigation container. This is it. This is our navigation container. So while this collapse, navbar collapse is there, it's just for responsiveness, so that when I'm on mobile, then I want this navigation to collapse. Let's see that first before we even do anything. Let me try that. Let's go to mobile view. Then let's see. See? Now, automatically, without even going to CSS and trying to say media query and all of these things, you can just see that on mobile screen, this is giving us a very nice view automatically. Now, click on this place, and then you have your navigation here. You don't even need to do anything much. Just understand how the code is being written. Just understand it. See, okay, I think this is to collapse. Well, you don't need to like know everything, but you still have to understand it, right? Collapse. Navbar collapse means collapse when I'm on mobile. I don't want to see it. So when it collapses, then there's going to be a button that will pop up. All right. And that button is this. This button will not be there when we are on large screen. So let's see how a large screen is going to look like. Let me copy this. Let me copy this and then paste it here. So I want us to have both the mobile and the text beside each other. So let's see. Okay, this is the desktop view, and then this is the mobile. You guys should understand that that particular extension I told you about can also be used to view other sizes. So let's go to mobile. I can also go to desktop. Just click here. Instead of selecting mobile, just come back and see MacBook Air. You see your desktop view. So this thing is also the same. It's also giving us the view when it is being viewed on a normal desktop page. And if you don't want to use that, you can use this. I like to work with this one actually, because it's going to allow me to see everything I'm working with directly. So now we have the mobile, and then we have the desktop view. As you can see, everything is working just perfectly. And then this drop down, we didn't even do anything for the drop down, and then they gave us drop down. See, very interesting. Same thing here. Open the drop down. The drop down is still here. Fine. Like Bootstrap is just making the whole stuff. Imagine how many code you write to get all of these things done. Imagine how many time it will take you to get all of these things done. But when a client just approach you, hey, Gospel, please, I need to get a landing page ready within 30 minutes. What can you do? Can you do something? Just landing page with header, make it responsive, header, and then hero page, and then maybe one other section in the footer. So how can you make it very fast within 30 minutes? So what you can think of is, okay, I think I can use Bootstrap. Just collect your money. And when you collect the money, go to Bootstrap, copy all of these things, just adjust it, change the text, make sure it looks like what the desire, what the clients want, and then submit it. 1 hour, 2 hours, you're done. So as easy as that. All right, so now there are some adjustments we need to do. That's just the thing, so that it's going to like fit in with what we need exactly. We need to take this to the center. We need to take this to the center. Let me make it bigger. This thing is not big enough. So, I mean, I'm trying to, oh shit. Sorry, just a minute. Okay, I'm making it bigger. All right, so I want to place this one to the center. All right, I don't want it to, they use margin end. This is end, this is right, margin end auto. That margin end auto will push it straight to the left. That means I don't want you to even just go to the last thing that you can get to, just the last place that you can get to. That is what auto means. Push yourself to the last place that you can get to. So that's why this navigation pushes itself straight down to the last place. So to change that, we can just come here and say MX. MX is left and right, auto. Now, the same size you have for your left, choose the same size for your right. So I want to have, if I have 10 from the right, I want to have 10 from the left. So X means left and right. Y means top and bottom. Just normal y-axis and x-axis. That's just the idea they used there. So instead of using the ME or using the MS, if I use MS now, it's going to like push it to the right also. So you can see M start, that's MS, M start auto push it straight down to the right. All right, but what I want is actually, I want it to be at the center. So I'll just target the left and the right and give it auto, which is X. MX auto. Then let's see what we have. See, as simple as that. So MX auto. This is going to get really complicated for us if we are not ready to like understand. Okay, let's say you see something like that, and then you want it to come to the center, and you don't know how to. Let's say you copy something, you copy a code. You can always come back to this navbar, Bootstrap, and then type it ME, right? Say ME auto, or yeah, ME auto. Okay, so let's see it here. Then we can just read about it. Let me see if they are going to talk about it. Okay, I don't really talk about it yet. Let's go to margin. Let's just search for margin and padding. So here we have margin and padding. This is say M is for margin, while P is for padding, right? T is for class that sets margin top or padding top, while B is for margin bottom or padding bottom. S is for stats, like margin left, padding left, margin right, just like that. While E is end. X is left and right, Y is top and bottom. So that's just the idea. And then you can margin 1, margin 2, margin 3, margin 4, anything you want to use. Just ensure you always come back to this place and read about whatever it is you want to use and understand it very well. All right, so we have this at the center. Now, what is left for us to do is to include, let's change the text first, and then include one. I think we already have home link drop down. Okay, so let's add home about service portfolio, themes, blog, and drop down. So let's add about service portfolio here. So we go, let's just look for where we have the drop down. So this is it. This is the drop down. So this is the home, this is the link. But then since we don't have link here, let's change it to about. Just copy this L1, LI here. As you can see, this is the LI for the link. So just copy it again, down. So let's change this one first to about, then service portfolio. So let's change it to service, then this to portfolio. What else? We have team blog. Okay, we have team and blog. So let me just copy again. 1, 2, team, and then blog. Okay, so that's that. That means we should have six LI, and then the drop down we have to leave it there. And then after the drop down, we need a contact. Yeah, okay, we have it disabled. We don't need the disable. Let's just remove the disable. So if you check the disable, this is it. It's just like a list item that we don't want anything to happen to. It just be there. Let it just be there. Nothing should happen. I only want it to be a text. Let people see that there's something there, but I don't want them to be able to click on it. So to do that, it's just for you to pass a disable here. The only if we remove the disable now, you see, that one also going to be like a link. See, as you can see now, it's now a link, right? But before it was disabled, and then it is, if you know something that is disabled, it's going to like the dim, a little bit dim. So that's what they did here. Let me undo it, and then I don't want it. So what I want is contact. Let me just remove it entirely. Then copy this one, since this one is having a link. Copy this one and then paste it under it. All right, and then let's save. No, sorry, this should be contact. Save it and see what we have. Okay, fine. Now we are good to go with, we have this, which is this, and then we have this navigation, and then we have search. So let's change this to append and change this to get started. And then I think we have to change the background color also. Okay, so where is it? The icon, navgash should be append. And then this should be get started. Instead of the search, we use get started. All right. Now, currently for our button, they use BTN is just to state that this thing is a button. If I should remove it, it's not going to look like that anymore. Remove it and then save. Let's see what we have. You see, now it's not having the styling. That BTN is what they use to style the button for, so that, okay, you don't have to go back to your CSS and start styling it yourself. What you need to do is just pass BTN first, save. That means this particular thing that I'm working on is a BTN, and I want the Bootstrap styling of button to actually affect it. So now it's now showing as a BTN normal. So now the next thing we need to do is to style it. Okay, give it a border, right? Border around, so that you can see it properly. Currently, it doesn't have anything, no background, nothing. So I need to pass that to it. Okay, so we have button outline, success. Outline is the border line. Button outline, I can say button outline, let me say primary, because primary is like blue. Then it's going to change it. So let's see what we have. So yeah, you can see button outline is blue currently. Now let's change it to success or danger, since they use danger. Yeah, since this one is danger, red is danger. So we change this also to danger, and then let's see what we have. See, now we have a danger. But in this case, it is only when we hover before we have a danger view. But from what we have here, when we hover, it's actually dimming a little bit. Okay, it's dimming a little bit. So we want it to be red from the beginning. That's BG red, BG danger. And then when we hover, then other things should not happen. So we don't need a button outline. We need, let me just add it, BG danger. Let's see. Okay, so we have our BG danger. Now we need to change the text color also to give us something that we need to use. Since we don't, let's remove this. Now the text color should now be text, let's say text white. Yeah, I believe this text white. Okay, so that's that about that. Now, when we over on it, perhaps we're going to talk about that one later, but for now, let's just focus on making the UI look the way it's supposed to be. So now we have drop down, we have contact, we have blog, portfolio, and all of these things. But man, looking at this, I think the font is really different, but we're going to talk about that one later. We all know how to use our font. We know how to get the font. So for you to see this font, you can just right-click on this place, just right-click and inspect. Let's inspect and see the kind of font they use for their header. Okay, so where is it? The navigation. Okay, now let me click on this. I want to see the font style they used. I shouldn't have clicked, sorry. Let me go back home. Okay, you can just see it from here. Okay, sans serif. If you can see this font here, 17 pixel Lato / sans serif. So the one we are going to get now is a Lato type of font. So we can just go to Google and then use Lato. So let's try it. Let me go to Google. I'm not sure if Bootstrap has font Lato. Let me just ask. Font style. I'm not sure they do have it. Let's just try from here. Let's see if you're going to see a font style. Okay, I'm not sure they do have it. So let's just use our Google fonts. That's right. I wish it together because I don't know if anybody have any question. Feel free to drop it on the group chat. So please attend to it. Okay, George, I will attend to that very soon. Let's just wrap up the old stuff and then we'll get to that. I'll drop the link to both the template and then the Bootstrap itself. I'll drop the link for us. So okay, I think Google changed their UI. Well, imagine. So now I have I need Lato. Okay, this is Lato. So now let me copy. This is what I want. I think I need for light, for medium, regular. I need bold. Yeah, that's all. There's no medium. Okay, that's fine. So let me copy this. Let me remove the previous one. I don't need these two guys. We already talked about this, so I won't actually waste time on it anymore. So I want to use a link. So let me copy this first. Come down here. Okay, so let me just comment it. So let me say Google font. Here we can say Bootstrap CDN. Let's make this mistake. Bootstrap CDN. All right, let's save it. Now I will now copy. I may still need my CSS though, because I'll have to use this one in my CSS. So let me copy this font family. Now I'm going to create a CSS style.css. So inside it, I'll just say asterisk. Where is it? Where is the asterisk? Okay, then paste this one there. Save it. Now let's link our styles. Let's link our styles. Custom styles. It's custom styles. All right, now let's link CSS. Okay, so save it. Now let's see what we have. Hopefully it's going to work for everything. Okay, fine. I think we have it. That's just perfect. Very easy. Now what is left is where is that? I don't need this anymore. The spacing between the UL is a little bit, it's not too close, just like our own is this close. So we need a little bit of spacing. And then I think the padding up and bottom also is actually kind of different from what we have. Wow, that's nice. I love it. Okay, so now let's go and imagine how interesting. Where is it? Okay, let me look for where to fix the spacing. We have UL, MX Auto, MB, and navigation, nav item. Okay, so let's try something. This is our home. Let's say M right. That's sorry, M end. That's margin right. Let me give. Well, let me just give MX. Just give MX 5. Copy everything. Copy for this one too. Okay, that's too much. Let's make it 2. So I'm just going to copy it for every other thing. This one. Hold your Alt so that you can paste it for everything at the same time. Not this. All right, now let's save. Okay, I think that's okay. Then I want to explain the idea of this UL and LI. See, here we have LI, as you can see, but the LI was not closed. This LI was not closed. They now actually created another. I think we've mentioned this before. I've actually explained it to us. I've shown us before. Inside our LI, they have another UL, another list item, because this is LI, right? So inside this LI, we want to have another list items. So that's why they have another UL inside the LI. Now we have a UL and then we'll call it drop down, okay? And then we have the list item inside it, the action, the another action, and then something else. All of these things are just something for you can change it to whatever it is that you want to work with. So that's just basically it. Now, I think we are done with that. Yeah, we're done with that. So we can now focus on background color also, but I will want us to just stop here and take questions. And then by Thursday, we're going to continue with other stuff. Just literally, let me just, in summary, what Bootstrap is doing for us now is just a way to make all of this thing easier and make it faster. We don't have to like start styling with our CSS anymore. We can just do all the styling right here inside our index.html, and then inside just it's more like an inline styling, but in this case we are not using a style. In this case we are not saying style and all of that. We are not doing that anymore. We are adding it as a class. We're adding our styling as a class inside our element. So that's just how it works. What I want you guys to do is go to the Bootstrap website. I'll copy the link and drop it on the group channel so that we can just go through everything, how to use it, play with it, interact with it. And on Thursday, we're going to continue with developing this particular one, the hero header, the image background, how to use the image background properly, and then how to go about other stuffs. Bootstrap has a way to provide cards for us, cards like this, and then a button like this. Very easy. You don't have to like write everything, like write the CSS anymore. Just copy whatever it is you need to copy and then use it in your code, and that will be all. So thank you very much. I'll take questions, although let's take questions first. Let's go and take questions. I'm coming. Let's take questions. George, your question, please. George?
Okay, boss. I wanted to know how you got that font size. I know you did inspect, but I'm not really sure how you got it. The font size.
You mean the font
for the website?
The font size.
The font size for the website.
Okay.
For the append.
Okay.
That's one.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I have a second question. Yes.
Okay, ask your second question.
Second question is, I want to know what you added to the airline to give it that spacing. I want to know which particular one you used, because I think I'm a little bit confused. Is it at the class nav item? I just wanted to know.
To give us what exactly?
To give us the spacing, like, the padding.
Okay, the spacing. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah, all right, I want to know the class you added. Yeah, that's all.
Okay, that's okay. Now I want to check the font size and the style they use for our navigation. So this list item. So inspect, just right click and then inspect. Okay. So, but as you know, our list item is actually hidden inside somewhere. It's hidden inside this icon. So when you click on it to open, so you see your list items here. But I don't want to click on it. If I click on it, it's going to navigate. So I have to like come to this place and I pick this. This is more like a pick tool. It's for you to select an element. Just hover on it. When you click on it, now it's going to allow you to hover on anything you want to hover on, any element. So when you hover on it, you get to see the property of the element.
Okay.
So you can now see we have the color, the font size, and then the pattern and everything. So that's just it.
Yeah,
so that will help you to know the styling. All right, and then the second one is the navigation, the spacing. Yeah, you know, I said to give space between two items like we always do before. We say margin left and margin right. All right, when we are using our styling. Okay, so instead of using margin left and margin right, I decided to say, okay, I need space left and right. This is the demo here. So I need space left and right of these guys. So I pass, like, you know, X is X-axis, that's left and right. So that's why I had to pass to the list item itself, the LI itself, not the A. There's nothing, we don't have to do anything with A. What we need to focus on is the LI. So now I pass MX2. So you can say MX3, MX4, MX5. That's just how you want the spacing to go. So, okay, see, I'm using MX5 now. If I should save it, this is for about us. Now let's see. See, now there's spacing of about margin 5 between left and right of about. If I should make it M start, that's margin start, margin to the left. Now let's see it. See, now there's the margin start here, but then this left is still taking the normal one that it's supposed to take. So now, but I want it both left and right. I don't want to have a non-uniform spacing here. I want to have a uniform spacing. That's why I say MX, which is left and right, should now have 2. That means the sizing, the spacing, the margin size should be just 2. So that's it. Bootstrap has where is it? I think it's 1. Let me look for it. That margin, yeah, margin and padding, I think it's 1 to 10 or something. Okay, so it's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, and then there's a way you can actually override all of these things. There's a way you can override it by going back to your CSS. That's what they did here. if you want it to be like maybe this is too small, 5 is too small for you, need something higher. So you can always go back to your CSS and then just maneuver
You
around.
call the class.
I've called the class and then just
All
to
right.
build anything that you want for yourself.
Okay, that makes sense. Okay. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Any other question?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
How did you get the background for
Sir,
now? How did you get the background for the nav?
for the nav bar,
Yes. Now we're exploring like on our own design.
okay, you mean their own,
No, our
like
own
this?
design.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, the background here, this background here, yeah, it's actually coming from here, BG body tertiary. This is just this, yeah. If I should remove it, let's say you want to remove this, and then let's see. That's just how you understand what you're doing actually. So you just remove something and then see what will happen, and then go back there. See, there's nothing there anymore. So if I should add BG danger now, or let's say BG success, or okay, let's just use BG success, and let's see what we have. See, that's just, it's giving us, and we can as well add padding Y. Padding Y is up and down. Padding Y, let's say 4 padding Y. I need space up and down of it, this thing. Then let's see what we have. As you can see, there are always changes. So now it's just how best you can, well, how I actually had to learn this thing is just by removing something, see what the changes is, and then bring it back. Okay, this is what this thing is doing. Okay, I can now decide to, I don't want this one this way. I want to change it the way I want it and all of that. So that's just, okay.
You cannot have golden rod there.
Master,
You cannot have golden rod.
you can have golden, oh, you want to have golden rod, you have to like use your custom styling if you want golden rod. If you want golden rod, you can actually, if you don't want to have a style at all, if you don't want to create a style file, you can use style here, and then you say, your normal background color, then you can now come here and say golden rod. You understand? So you can do that too. But then remember, this one will always override this one, so you have to remove this one to have your golden rod. So let's see if it's going to work. All right, golden rod. So if you don't want to create a style and you want to have everything inside your HTML, so this is how you can use an inline styling to override what you have here. Okay, is that all?
Yeah.
All right, I think this class is kind of like clear to everybody. Well, before I used to have plenty questions, and today is just 2% and 2 guys now in they ask the question. That's really interesting. If you don't get any aspect of this thing, if you're confused anywhere or anyhow, just feel free to ask a question. Or you can also, after your research, if you're concerned about anything, if you don't understand anything on the Bootstrap website or how to use CDN anymore, you can always go back and watch this video, or you can always reach out to us on the channel. Just drop it outside. Don't come to my DM. Okay, just drop it outside, like on the group channel. If Feminist is available, we'll attend to it. If I am, I'll attend to it. And if anybody who knows the question is available, they will attend to it. So I think that's all for today. There's no task. What I want you guys to do is to see how you can, well, I won't say use your change your fin suite to, don't just focus, leave fin suite as a styling. You can come here, or you can look for any other websites, or you can even use this one and then see how you can look for how you can do background BG image to get your image here, and then see how you can fix all of this one yourself before Thursday. When you do that, it gets easier for you. On Thursday, you just keep looking, and then from the explanation, you get to understand better what you did previously. So thank you very much, guys. Let's meet again this same time on Thursday, and before then we can always converse, we can always have things to talk about on the group chats. Always have things to talk about on the group chat anytime, And please avoid my DM, please. Please avoid my DM. Thank you very much, guys. I attend to stuff that is being posted on the group channel more than my DM. Okay, so because I believe that when I answer the question on the group chat, everybody will see it. So if you have that concern, you don't have to come to the DM anymore. So that's just the main idea. Thank you very much again. I don't know if Femi has anything to say before we call it a day. Femi Blaze, are you there? Okay, I think he's not available. What are you saying? Jason, I can't hear you clearly.
Yeah, I actually stepped out, so I was nearby. I really don't have anything to say after.
Okay. All right, boss. Thank you very much. All right, thank you, guys. Thanks for joining today's class. Let's meet again next Thursday. Goodbye.
Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, cheers.